All right. Well,
So these are uploaded on
this is
Spotify
on
as well as
Spotify
YouTube.
as well as YouTube. That's
Yeah,
the only two I kind of got into. I think like if I want to upload any other places, it might be a little too much to handle for
yeah,
like a
yeah,
single
yeah,
person's production.
yeah.
And I
Fair.
think they're the two predominant ones
Yeah,
anyway.
for sure.
The other one might
100%.
be what like iTunes or something. I
Yeah, I
think.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome back to another episode of How to Blaze podcast. I'm your host Timmy, and we've got another interview today. I'm really grateful and really honored to have the opportunity to interview. Is it Breezy? Is that how you
Breezy.
say it?
Yeah,
Breezy,
thanks.
nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking I need to double check that. So we're gonna go jump straight in. So the first question I had for you is: you wear two hats as both a producer and an artist. While there's a lot of overlap, what would you say is the biggest difference in your creative process between the two?
First of all, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. That's a great question. Um, the biggest creative difference between the two.
I suppose it's a little bit like maybe like when you're working with a person as opposed to working with yourself. Maybe.
Yeah. The biggest difference for me, working with different people, obviously everyone has their own process. So you kind of have to be more chameleon and adaptive to the vibe, what kind of song you're working on, what mood they're in, and then their general process. Like a lot of people record
Mm,
in a lot of different ways. Whereas it for me, I kind of know what I like, and it's a lot easier to understand where I'm at and what I need to be able to, get in the creative flow of things. I guess obviously, like we all go through periods of time where it's a little bit harder to understand or find that within ourselves, but I kind of have a routine or a process that I can use to get myself into it a lot of times. So sometimes working with other people can be a little bit slower, um, just because it takes a little bit of time to get to know the person and catch the vibe.
yeah, that's true
But
because everyone's quite different.
yeah, and in a lot of ways, like it's very similar as well because we're all people and we're all you know a lot of people that I try to work with all come from the right place. They have all the same intention. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
They're trying to express something. They're trying to process something. They're trying to learn something from an experience they've had. All those kinds of things. So
That's
yeah,
what I was actually thinking about on the way here for some reason. Because you know how the other day you had a story on Instagram. It's the one where you were retching, and it's really funny. The funniest thing was I tried to look at that story, but then accidentally like clicked like next, and it went on to someone else's story, and I was like, oh shit, I wanted to know what that was about. So I
yeah.
went back and I was like, essentially heard you retch 2 rounds.
Oh god, I'm sorry, dude.
And I was just like, that's so funny.
Yeah,
Anyway, so that story was basically, I guess I'll just explain it. It was basically about you were kind of talking about people who were obviously not into the art. They were just kind of in it for, I guess, even the money or whatever.
yeah, whatever.
But
Yeah,
they just were pretty surface level artists.
yeah,
Um, so like, have you worked with people like that as well before?
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes, like, you never know, like, you exchange a few DMs and you book in a session and you're like, yeah,
Yeah,
keen,
yeah,
but you never really know until the day, like,
yeah.
what
If
the
you're with the
person's
person.
about, what, the energy they bring. So sometimes you can get yourself into a session that you're not necessarily vibing with the person or you just feel like they're in it for a different reason than you are. And, like, each to their own, I suppose.
You just
Everyone
kind of
has
power
their
through
own.
it, I
Yeah.
guess, because
Yeah.
in the end, it is sort of still a job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I try not to like work with people I don't necessarily align with because I feel like music is this thing you can't really force it. Like
Yeah.
you're always going to make better music if you're enjoying it and you mesh with the
It
person
messes
you're
with the
making it
energy
with.
and the flow.
100%.
I mean, like I can imagine you and T got you guys can bounce off each other like the energy very, very quickly and
Yeah.
create something very cool.
Yeah.
So I try to make my questions usually very interesting,
Yeah.
but I also like to kind of keep it sort of fun.
Yeah.
Um, my next question is: can you tell us a little about your very first song that you've released on Spotify? Did you go, or was that release like? What did that release mean to you at the time? If you remember that song.
Did you go? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that one's with Hayes. He's a producer in Europe.
Wow.
I don't know. I have no idea how I found him or like we got connected, but I listened to his music and I was like, man, this guy's insane. And yeah, basically just hit him up, I suppose. And I was like, yeah, we should make your music. Can you send me some of your stuff? And he like remixed one of my songs and sent it to me. And I was like, okay, this is crazy. So I like wrote something to it. Pretty sure I did the second drop on there, and then yeah, that was history. It's just like it's crazy these days. You can like make music with anyone across the world, and you don't even really have to be that close to them or know them very well to be able to like make something crazy. You know
It
what I
is,
mean?
yeah. Like the time changes, and also like all the technological advances is really like shaping the music industry in a very unique way.
Yeah.
I mean, like back in the days, you'd probably be expecting. I talked about this in like our interview with Tigo as well. We probably just expect like musical artists to be kind of picked up by labels, or you find a way to get noticed. But now instead, you're kind of like a huge portion of your time is kind of around social media, trying to promote yourself, trying to work out the algorithm, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. So, what was your biggest takeaway from that experience as you move into your second release? Like, had enough. I think that was your second one. Because were you still learning a lot of stuff at that stage, or you've kind of figured out all the musical sort of like production stuff for yourself?
I'm always learning, and there's always things that like I'm trying to improve for the next one. I'm trying to remember exactly where I was in that period of time because it was over a year ago now. I think I was probably just trying to work with as many different people as I could to
Mm,
try and understand more about my own process, going back to like that first
that's true.
kind of question, because I was still pretty early in the process. But, and also like to not, and I know a lot of people kind of say this, but not box myself into anything specific or a
That's
type of
true.
genre. Like a lot of the music I make now is very hip hop centric, and that's kind of my sound. But I've kind of developed that over time because I've figured out that's kind of what I like. But you can only really do that if you go through a period of experimentation and not trying to force yourself
Mm,
into it. And I don't really force myself into the music that I make now. It just kind of naturally happens because it's what I'm used to, I suppose.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I've listened through to your recent album like released pretty much like last year. Frozen in Time.
That one was a couple of months ago.
That
Yeah.
was a couple of months
Yeah.
ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I've listened to it through like a few times, and it's very cohesive.
Thank you.
Like I said to Tiga when I was interviewing him, the same with his album, I said it's one of those albums where you both seem to have that um, what do you call it? Basically, it has the sound where you listen through and it loops back to the beginning, but you don't quite realize that it's looped back already because it's so
Oh,
cohesive.
really? Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, um, and I really like the what would you call it, intro, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite emotional, but it's very simple, the words you've chosen for like the singing part,
Yeah.
but it's very very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For that one, it was really difficult, and I don't know if you have any more questions about the album, but is a very difficult question that I have for myself. For is that the track that I put first? Is that the first thing that people are going to hear in the album? Because it is such like a. I
It's
feel like it
full
would
on.
turn a lot of people away.
Okay. Because it really the intro is meant to really shape the concept in a sense.
100%. Yeah.
I think it was the right choice to make. Where else would you have put it if you were gonna try relocate it in the album?
Well, that was the question, right? I'm not really sure. Probably like towards the middle somewhere, but the way the album kind of manifested itself, it became the story of like when I first started music. That's where I was at.
Yeah.
So it only made sense that it was the first track. And then as the songs progress, you kind of go through the journey of, you know, some things that I dealt with along the way, and then quitting my job to do this full time. And then at the end, I'm feeling grateful for everything that I have.
Yeah.
And then it's the cycle. If you go back to the beginning, you realize something else that you lack or you need to work on, and you go through another cycle of
Hmm.
yearning and growth and
Hence the kind of frozen
gratitude.
in time as
Yeah,
well. It's
exactly.
kind of a loop.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Um, so another question I always ask different artists, is, which obviously people get very curious about, how did your musical journey begin, and who would you say has been your biggest inspiration along the way?
So growing up, I didn't really have any musical background at all. I grew up on a farm, like yeah, shearing sheep and like riding dirt bikes.
Very Aussie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Loved it. It was sick, but yeah, no musical background or talent for that matter. I didn't really realize that, you know, you could make music like any person on the street could, learn the skills to actually do it until I was in university. I was working a part time job. We were making these electrical cables, like cutting them to length to go on like power poles to connect them to the
Oh,
power
wow.
grid. And my mate who I was working with, his name's Brendan, the same spelling and everything, which is crazy. He was like, "Hey, bro, do you want to listen to this song I made?" I was like, "What? You can make a song? Like, what?"
It's always like that, isn't it?
Yeah,
When you least expect it from someone.
yeah, exactly. And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, let me play it." And then, because we connected over heaps of music, like that's when it was around the time Juice WRLD passed away and all that kind of stuff. So
Mm,
we connected over that. And he played his song, and I was like, this is crazy. Like it sounded like a song. You know how you kind of you don't know what to expect when someone you don't see as a musician plays you a song that they made,
yeah.
and it sounds like a song. You're like, what the heck?
But
So
you
like
know it's the
anyone can do
person's voice,
this?
so you're kind
Yeah,
of like, mm,
yeah. And I was like, what? How did you do that? And he's like, oh yeah, I've got this program. It's called FL Studio. You should try it. And I'm like, sick. So I went home that afternoon. I downloaded it, and yeah, that was the start.
that's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I love hearing people's stories, like especially when they start from like so irrelevant. Because like I think you always expect like people who create music to have something like like oh from my grandma or like oh I've like been to like music school or something like that.
yeah,
You don't really particularly always hear about stories of how people kind of slide into that career change in
yeah,
that sense.
yeah.
Let's see. So this is obviously because we bring up Tiga a lot anyway, so I thought it'd be an interesting
Shout out to
question.
you, go, bro. My boy.
Yeah. So I know from interviewing Tiga that you two are close friends and often collaborate. I've noticed your musical values and social content really align in that sense. Positive messages, growth, personal development, nature vibes. How did you guys first meet and how did those collaborations begin?
How did we meet? I think it was possibly through one of the first friends I made in music, MN Capo. I'm not
Okay.
sure if you're familiar, but
No.
pretty sure we met through him somehow, some way. And at that stage, I was still living down in Wollongong. I was actually
Wow.
probably still studying, like just early in the stages. Like I just started making music. I was probably a year into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we somehow got connected, and he came down, and we had a couple of sessions in, my spare bedroom in Wollongong, and yeah, we just like, connected on values, I suppose, and just similar outlooks on life and the things that we're trying to bring, and just the attitude that we have towards life in general. Just yeah,
Yeah,
to
and
grow and
he's
learn.
very open to reaching out to people
Yeah,
because
totally.
I haven't mentioned this to you as well. The way I met him was it's actually really funny. I was doing my thing where I was kind of trying to find artists, and then Instagram's good for that. Once you
Yeah,
kind of dig into one
yeah,
artist, they kind of go, "Oh, you like music? I'll keep shooting some videos
exactly.
your way."
Yep.
And then his video must have come up at some point. I was like, "Oh yeah, sounds pretty good." I'm not
Yeah.
always into rap music. I was like, but I like this guy, so I was like the video, and then he reached out and he was really friendly and he was like in the DM kind of like starting to chat with me and saying like, oh, I like to get to know people, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then my first thought was, this is a scam, isn't it? I thought it was one of those weird fake people like trying to like,
Too good to be
hey
true.
man, like
Yeah.
how's it going? Would you like to learn more about this? I totally
Yeah.
thought it was, and I was like, I'll humor him a bit, so like sort of like politely like replied. Then I realized, oh, he's just a really nice guy. And that's how our like sort of talk began and eventually led to like our podcast. But I just thought it's the funniest story that I literally thought he was just I was like, this is just showing not enough nice people around the world because
Yeah.
my first
Yeah.
intentions were, what are your
You're just
intentions?
immediately
What kind of
skeptical of
AI are
anyone
you?
who's like, yeah, bro, I'm just good vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean DMs are probably always the place to be wary of.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
So, and another reason why I brought up this question too was I saw on Instagram and on YouTube he had a short that popped up, and it was like about sort of reflecting on being grateful, and he
Mm.
showed a bunch of people you collab with, and one of the clips that showed up was a really really young Tiga, like with zero facial hair,
Yeah,
and I was just like, did I see that right? And I was like, clicked back to it, and I was like, oh my god, he's so young here.
that was probably in the spare bedroom in Wollongong,
It
to
was,
be
yeah, it was
honest.
a
Yeah,
bedroom kind of
yeah,
background.
yeah. That's
That's
crazy.
so funny. Um, I think because you have so many experiences through this question, I think for any new artists out there that are feeling nervous about, say, busking for the first time, do you have any sort of stories or tips that might help calm the nerves or help them
Mm.
get there?
That's an interesting one.
Mm,
I started busking with my good friend Verse.
yeah,
Shout out Verse.
he's the
And
guy who tried the tried the
yeah,
haichu.
yeah. I'm drooling.
That was
It's so funny.
hilarious.
Yeah, and he had started busking from a Ed Sheeran documentary. Like he
Oh,
was really inspired from that.
yeah.
So it was really easy for me to kind of right off the back of, the experience that he had busking. So the number one suggestion I would have for anyone is just go with a friend. Like,
Mm,
don't go alone. Like, obviously you can go alone, and that's like, I commend you for going out there by yourself for the first time and learning how, you know,
mm,
it all works, because it's super daunting. But yeah, it just makes, and that goes for anything as an artist. I find if you're out in public, even if you with someone who doesn't do music or whatever, they're just there to support you. That can make things a little bit easier,
mm,
because like you never know what you're going to expect. You kind of always fear the worst when you go out there, but if you have someone who's there and is a consistent grounding force,
mm. You
I
always have that
guess.
one friend who's
Yeah, you
very sort of
can
grounded.
100%, and you
Mm.
can kind of lean on them in times that you need, and then eventually, as you gain confidence, you can go out by yourself more, and you kind of feel liberated, and you gain confidence.
Your advice just kind of reminded me of this skit that I saw. Well, it's not a skit. It was actually more like a social experiment. So it was on Instagram. I saw this years ago, and I mean, it basically was like they were trying to see how easy it would be to make people think someone is popular by sort of faking a scene of like busking, but like popular busking.
Yeah,
So what they did was they got the people to start singing. They were terrible. They were very, very off pitch the whole time. But they got a bunch of people to come in and go, oh, get out their phone and
yeah,
start. And people were like, oh,
yeah. Sheep
waving their phone. And
mentality.
then
Yeah,
people just started gathering. And then
yeah,
very quickly, a bunch of people who had no idea what was going on, just like actual people started to come in and start to like record and stuff.
yeah,
So I'm just like, you could potentially bring a friend and just, once you get nervous, just get them to like really get into the vibe and then see if they can sway the public to join in.
yeah. a
And
hundred
then you could
percent.
probably get a big following very quickly. You never
Yeah,
know.
that's how it happens, man. When you're street performing, it only takes one person to stop and to go, wait, this person is actually like
Really good.
good, and like I can resonate with the music, whatever they're saying. And then it's just one person, and then you realize another person stops and another person stops, and they all pull out their cameras, and all of a sudden you've got a semicircle of like 40 or 50 people, and it's just like a moment that you'll never forget.
It's also interesting. Like, I wonder, like, how does it feel like when you're busking? Like obviously, you see people and then like say they stop and all that. That's pretty regular. But like, that must be quite a unique feeling when you're standing on the other side of the story where it's a bunch of people holding up their phones, like and recording you.
Yeah,
Like, have you had that?
yeah, yeah, heaps. It's interesting, like it's almost our default action. It's like, I want to
Document or
remember this,
mm,
or I feel like some people pull it out because they're like, oh, this guy might be famous, or
just in
like
case.
in future I could say I've got a video of this guy. So it's kind of like, I don't know, hedging their bets so that they can be socially accepted when maybe something comes of it. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't
It's
know.
an interesting. part to be in the story.
Yeah.
The famous side. Right. Uh, so the next question I had for you is: this is now your third year in production. I take it. The
I
third year
started in
in
COVID, so
2024. Then.
I think 5 and a bit years now. I've been making
Wow,
beats.
that's
Yep.
way longer than what I had here. Have you had any live performances outside of busking, and how did those experiences go?
Yeah. So I've played a few shows. I put a few like intimate gigs on at home for like
Nice,
album releases and stuff like that.
that's cool.
Uh, and a bunch of other shows that like I've been on with other artists and stuff. I really enjoy busking though, outside of the live shows, just
Yeah.
because it's like, I mean, for me, I don't have a lot of like social battery, I suppose, is the best way to use it in like group settings, especially when I don't know the majority of people. So I'm happy to like rock up, perform, see a bunch of my friends that I know, and then dip.
Hmm.
So like busking is like the perfect thing for that because you can set your own timeline, you can go where you want, you can start when you want, and you can finish when you want.
Yeah.
So like I enjoy that process. It's more impromptu, but there's also something really important about like putting a date. This is a live show. People are arranged to come here, so you're like almost preparing an experience for someone, which is something I put a lot of effort into to try and like curate something valuable and memorable for people.
Hmm.
That can sometimes be a lot of pressure,
Hmm.
but
That's true.
yeah,
It's kind of the build up to it because, like, I'm assuming your experience with busking is a little bit more impromptu, right?
yeah,
So kind of like, hey, I'm in the vibe for it. But like with a live performance, you kind of have like all these things to deal with, but then you have all this like build up moment towards that actual show.
yeah, yeah. And it's an interesting balance. Like busking, super impromptu. You're making it up as you go along. You don't really have an order of songs.
Mm.
Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
And it's very sort of audience interaction
Yeah,
based too.
exactly, exactly. And then using that to inspire your live shows and the more like curated set list, planned, um, meticulous, and
Does
how
that
they pass into each other like that.
sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah,
do they also like have to approve that? So do you have to sort of come up with a list and then for the performances send it through to be like sort of approved?
I haven't yet. I haven't had
Okay,
that yet.
that's
No.
good.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that makes it a little bit less annoying.
yeah. I feel like I don't know, maybe on bigger festivals they do that. I haven't heard of anything like that except for like maybe DJs
Oh yeah,
potentially.
that's probably because their set goes for so long.
Yeah, yeah.
They're probably just like, and what are you gonna play here? Actually, don't even bother telling me. Just send it through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So the next question is basically taking you to the album. So, like Tiga, you released your debut album in 2025, titled "Frozen in Time." Can you kind of walk us through the concept behind the album and how it came together?
Yeah. So Frozen in Time is a snapshot in time from the period before I started making music. I was in an engineering degree that I wasn't really enjoying. I started it with a bunch of my friends, and I realized that when we all started to specialize and go on our different like education paths, that we were spending less time together. So I realized the only reason I was doing my degree is because I enjoyed the people that I was doing it with.
Hmm.
So I was kind of lost for a little while. I knew I should finish this thing because like it'd guarantee me a job and stability and all of these things that people, want for you.
Yeah.
But I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
And along the way, I found music. I was introduced to music and I started making music. And before that, I never really had a way of expressing how I felt, processing some of the things that I'd went through that I didn't want to really talk about. And so that started a journey of like self exploration, digging out the roots of some of like the trauma that you had went through throughout your life and all that kind of stuff. And now as I come out to the other side, I've started doing this full time. I feel grateful for everything that has happened, and it's kind of cliche, like the good and the bad, you know what I mean? But frozen in time is a snapshot of I was here, I learnt these things, I went through these experiences, and ultimately, I'm grateful for everything because it made that experience what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can definitely see the improvements as well. Because I think one of the first songs, because I went back to look at like Spotify lists your liked songs from a particular artist.
yeah,
I was looking through and I almost forgot about this song, Butterflies.
yeah,
That was like a pretty early song, and I think that was when I first kind of like saw you through Tigo or something, maybe around that time.
yeah.
And I must have like looked at the songs, and it's really funny. That's actually one of the first songs that I said I liked that I enjoyed from Tigo in our first interview. I also mentioned was Butterfly from
Oh
Tigo
yeah,
as well.
butterfly.
And
Yeah,
then he was just like, actually, that's one of the songs that I liked the least. And I was like, whoops. And I was like, well, one can try.
yeah, yeah. It's
But
funny that
it's
like some of
yeah,
the people who listen to your music like songs that you've almost completely moved on from, and you can't really like.
yeah. But you can just tell like the difference in like because that song's obviously very well fleshed out. It's very good. It's a very enjoyable song. But like comparing that to like your album from just a couple months ago,
Yeah,
that's obviously like it's quite a big difference.
yeah,
You can really see how like you kind of it's not like completely distant from it, but you can really see how it's shaped itself. Your music's like shaped itself through all these experiences.
yeah.
Yeah.
And different like songs for different purposes. Butterflies is like a happy-go-lucky kind of radio love song.
Mm,
So it's pretty easily digestible. Goes off basking every time.
mm-hmm.
People love it. And then the album is more like this is me. I'm doing some deep work right now. I'm trying to like figure out who I am type,
You,
but type beat. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So yeah,
You,
it's
you know what song I think would be really good to be like to do for busking? Ice T.
yeah,
I think that would be very popular. It's
yeah.
like it's like my favorite
It's
song off
very
the
poppy
album.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as it came on, I was like, yeah. I was like, let's do this.
Yeah, I need to go busking with T guy. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Okay. If you had to rate the album out of 10 being your own toughest critique, how happy are you with how it turned out? This is an interesting one.
In terms of just my enjoyment of it,
Um, I guess so. Like probably how much you enjoy, but also like how fleshed out and like how happy you are with. I guess maybe like what you set out to complete,
yeah,
or maybe you can give two ratings: one for how happy you are with it and how enjoyable you found it.
I think as a representation of that period of time and where I was when I wrote it, it's very difficult for me to rate it any lower than like an 8 or a 9.
Yeah.
Um, for where it is now, obviously, and I kind of did this to like challenge myself in ways. I put a couple of songs on there that I didn't even necessarily like for myself, but it was to like push the boundaries in terms of taste and also experimenting to see what other people would resonate with as well.
That's
Like
true.
there's a track on there called State of Mind that really I don't even like, I kind of cringe at. But kind of what we were talking about before, one of my mates, he's like, bro, that's my favorite song. That's a crazy track. Like you
It's
should
it's
love this.
interesting, yeah,
Yeah.
when you hear that.
Yeah.
I find I'm always like falling into that category. I'm always like, oh, I like this song the most, and then to be like, God, I hate that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone listens to music for different reasons. And I think it's,
The state
yeah,
of
it's
mind as
really
well when you
interesting.
get into a certain song.
State of
Yeah,
mind. Exactly.
state of mind.
Yeah. So yeah, 8 or 9 in terms of like where I was when I wrote the song. Looking back, I would probably like right now a strong 7. I would say.
Okay, so on
Yeah,
a
because I
criticizing
really
level,
it's not that old, and I haven't like rinsed it enough to like be really sick of it yet.
true. You're probably getting feedback still as well because it's so fresh. Two
Yeah.
months is not a long time for an album.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's a good body of work, and like the intention I set for it was pretty open, so it was hard for it to fail. I feel like, which
Mm.
helped.
Yeah, and I think interesting enough, like I did mention like that the overall vibe might be like a little bit heavy or something like
Yeah,
with the certain like the topics and the songs, but it actually feels like a very light listen. Like it's very easy to enjoy. Like
yeah,
it's very easy to listen through and kind of repeat it even.
yeah,
Like that's what I found from personal experience.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So if someone could only listen to one song from the album to get a true feel for your sound, which track would you choose and why? This is probably a tough one.
There's a bunch of different ones. If you're talking like just hard trap beats, like Energy, probably Grand Escape.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you can't really look past that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty crazy track. In terms of atmosphere, like soul energy, also kind of cinematic. I really like Heavens. And then a track like See Me Coming, I feel like is pretty poppy with verse on there and Ice-T. And just the run of songs at the end feel like a good way to tie it up for people who maybe don't necessarily appreciate or can resonate with some of the other themes that I have on the album.
Okay.
There's something for them at the
So
end.
it's more
there.
like the bundle of like the jumpy songs. You'd
Yeah,
say.
there's a couple sweet high chews at the end there for you.
Sweet high chews.
Yeah.
Nice. This is one more on the technical side. I thought to ask, is there a new technique or skill or creative approach that you've recently learned or are currently trying to explore?
Yeah, I mean, AI is definitely a really interesting thing for me, and all the technologies coming out in terms of voice manipulation.
That's
like
true.
There's a plugin now that you can sing any line and you can turn your voice into a woman or a man or a child, and just to see the things that people are doing with that is insane. You know what I mean?
It almost seems like it's taken a long time to get to something that seems like something they would have done a long time ago.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how old that specific piece of tech or software is, but it takes a long time for it to be directly applicable within the door, because I feel like, I mean, for me, workflow and speed are like top priority, because like there's nothing worse than being in the flow and then you having an idea and then going out and trying to do it and then it taking 10 minutes for you to figure it out, because by the time you get it back you've kind of lost the vibe, for me anyway. So
something that takes forever to render just kind of messes with the mood real big.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to do animation during one of my studies, and I absolutely hated doing it. I just like watching animation. Honestly, so we used apples, like Macs in the school, and we have a term, we call it the Doom of the beach ball, like beach ball of doom.
Oh, okay.
So it's when it loads, like when it's loading on Macs, they turn into like a colorful beach ball, like a rainbow
wheel,
beach ball.
Yeah.
But we've learned the hard way that every time we see it, if it's especially while we have an animation program open, it almost 99% like means that it's gonna crash.
Yep.
And it doesn't autosave, so we're just kind of like,
oh, there's no autosave.
Where did we save?
Damn.
And then you open it again, you're just like, I'm fucking over this.
Oh man, yeah. I'm so grateful for FL Studio backups, man. It autosaves every like 1 or 2 minutes.
Like the basic thing they gotta do for good.
These days, man, like if you running software that crashes, it's bare minimum.
I know.
Yeah.
What is your dream goal as a music producer, would you say?
I mean, top of the mountain is to be completely financially set and secure with my family. 100 acres, go back to my roots. If you listen to my song Life's Been Good on the album, that's pretty much like the dream.
Okay.
Studio on the farm, drive a Case IH to the stew with a booth. That's like a tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be sick. But to be honest, like right now where I have pretty much just achieved one of the biggest goals that I had, which was going full time.
Yeah. There's going to be a question about that as well.
Yeah, sick.
Oh, actually, that's literally the next question. One of the scariest things for an artist is taking the leap.
Yeah.
And you've recently done exactly that by selling your car and leaving a full-time job to fully commit to music. Can you share what that experience has been like for you?
It's pretty crazy, man. Like in a lot of ways, it's terrifying and it's anxiety inducing and it's scary, but also like in any ordinary moment, it's pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah,
if that makes
because
sense.
you're kind of sliding from life to life.
Yeah,
It's still
exactly.
like a life moment,
Exactly.
right?
Like the moment where I quit and I was driving away from work, or the moment that I sold the car and I was like, this is actually happening, was like, they were big moments. But outside of that, I'm just like, I'm here. Okay, what do I do now? You know what
That's
I
true.
mean?
Do you think like you might still be, because you know, like when people go through big changes, sometimes it takes it takes quite a bit of a moment for them to actually kind of hit them.
Mm.
Do you think it's like still coming, or like you've it's really like just sort of a calm moment sliding into a sort of anticlimactic kind of moment?
It definitely hit me on the day that I quit, that I was quitting.
Mm,
And it took probably a week or so to actually like get into like the mind state of, okay, this is like my livelihood now,
mm.
and this is what I'm gonna do to support myself. So like, how can I make this happen? But at the same time, it's always like a moment to moment growth and understanding.
I want to say, because like I'm recently kind of thinking about taking that leap too, because I'm in the process of either like employment services are kind of on my back, kind of like you got to get the job,
Yeah,
you got to work.
yeah,
It's kind of like the moment of should I just be honest with them and be like, you know, honestly, I just really don't want to make coffee anymore. I like it, but this is not the area that I want to work with.
yeah,
And be like, this is the creative side, you know. But social content and like content creators is such a big thing.
yeah,
I feel like it'd probably be a very normal moment for them. So I'm still kind of considering like what to say in the next meeting. But like I want to say like I feel like it's almost like for these kind of decisions where you feel in your gut, which obviously it does for you. It's almost like once you always kind of knew it was going to end up this way in that sense. So like when the moment comes and you've done it, you kind of just feel either like a sense of relief and then move on with it, or you just kind of feel like cool,
yeah,
it's happened.
yeah,
But I kind of knew it was going to happen.
yeah,
It's almost like that kind of feeling. I don't know if that describes it.
yeah. There's definitely a part of that, and then for me, it's definitely a part of like, I know this is gonna happen, but like, you're never ready for the moment when it arrives.
Yeah, that's one of those things that like I don't know if you've seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animation
Yeah,
movie. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like what they say. They're like, there's you're just never gonna be ready for it. You have
yeah,
to like take the leap of faith
yeah,
and kind of jump into the moment.
yeah. And
Yeah,
the one thing that I was saying a lot around the time that I quit, probably just out of like freaking coping with the situation, is like, if you jump, you'll grow wings.
that's a really great term.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like the universe will conspire to make it happen for you.
I mean, even birds they take a few leaps of like test drive before they kind of
But
learn to fly,
before they figure it out,
before they
yeah,
figure out, hopefully without dying.
yeah,
Just like, oh, all the way down.
yeah. But for people like who are thinking about it and are kind of in the position of like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
I know what I want to do. I just have no idea how or what or if I can make it happen. There's this feeling inside your gut that like tells you that, you know, there's something out there that is meant for you. You just kind of have to trust that, and trust that. It sounds cliche AF, but everything has worked out in the past. So it's only right that it will continue to work out into the future
yeah,
if you can fucking grit your teeth and just let it happen.
yeah. That's a good way to look at it. Because like I was thinking on the way here as well, one of the things that struck me was particularly with like studying, which is relevant to your story. I think a lot of people study and don't enjoy what they end up studying, and then like kind of have to make this like career shift or like shift in their life. It's kind of like a humans have like a very strange habit of wanting closure for everything. And it's almost like when a lot of people then get to the dilemma of like almost finishing a course but really finding themselves struggling, but it's almost like I'm already like a few years in.
Yeah,
And I think that was one of the songs mentioned that. That's kind of why I was thinking about it.
yeah,
and it's just it's such a strange thing that we kind of get used to, like wanting closure for like certain things, like kind of close that chapter properly.
Yeah.
But really, like you're kind of just wasting time because you don't love this and you don't like it. You're probably never going to use that skill set anyway.
Yeah.
And it's like just funny those moments when they weigh up the truth and like sort of the habits.
Yeah. And it's really important but difficult to understand, like the voice that's telling you that you need closure, or for me, like you need to finish this degree. It only makes sense. Like,
Yeah,
whose voice is that actually?
yeah.
Is that your voice, or is it someone
Something
else's
that
voice
is
that's
being
been
programmed
planted
by
in there?
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. What's something people often don't recognize or fully understand about music producers? I think this one's an interesting one. It's pretty broad, this one.
I think like the definition of music producer would probably change from person to person, but I don't think people understand how much of an impact, like even the way that I approach being a producer and curating a session and creating the song, how much of an impact that can have on the song and even an artist's trajectory long term.
Yeah.
Like you hear about Dr. Dre, Benny Blanco, all of these super producers who like have come up with these massive artists. They're almost as important, depending on who you talk to, if not more important, on the trajectory of the music. Like there's the beat and there's the vocals. Without the beat, the vocals is just an acapella. Without the acapella, the beat is just a beat. But the beat brings the vibe and the acapella brings the story.
That's a good way to say
So it's like you're narrating the story with musical orchestration. And I feel like, I mean, most people just don't understand that a lot of people, or even how music is made, like one person writes a song and one person makes a beat, or however it's done. Maybe like me, I make everything at the same time. I don't know how people usually like understand or frame it in their mind, but
a lot of people would probably just hear like an artist singing and then just be like, oh yeah, this is by them. But whereas it can break down into so many different levels.
Yeah. And like I work with Verse a lot, and he says all the time, like when I make a new beat under the vocals is already recorded and it changes the vibe completely.
Yeah.
Like you only then realize how much of a difference that kind of the invisible makes.
Yeah. I've seen like videos of like artists who are still pretty new and they are just like hearing back for the first time like the full production.
Yeah.
And it's like the general gist of the video gives you the understanding that she's probably recorded the chorus but hasn't heard any of the sort of backtrack.
Yeah.
And so she's hearing it for the first time, and then you can really see the effect that it has on it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, the chorus is probably very soft or something, and pretty much an acapella.
Yeah.
Until like the beat comes through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can play you some stuff like older versions to tracks that were old really beats, cool. And then afterwards the reproduced versions, and just a cool complete different.
Yeah, that's definitely very interesting. Because like, and I even like, I remember seeing a few interviews, Demon Hunters, I think was the movie. Yeah. So she said, like, for example, she had inputs on a lot of the tracks, apparently, the lead singer. I forget her name. The one with the purple hair. The character. Anyway, so in the interview, she was mentioning how in the final scene where they lead up to the big boss fight, the boy band, what was it called? Anyway, the K-pop boy band was like singing their song "Let Me Be Your Idol," and the opening is essentially actually like it sounds almost like a gospel cathedral kind of like choir. But what she did was she took the verses from the demon hunting track, like their mantra, and she's reversed it.
Oh, crazy.
And then she's added like all these like sort of like choir effects to kind of make it that kind of weird cathedral vibe. And then she said she had to like learn whatever gibberish it was, essentially, because she had to try to like make the layer it.
Oh, what? So she reversed it and then recorded new layers over top of it.
Then did the harmony over it.
Right? Why wouldn't you just record it the right way?
I was going to say,
reverse it all.
she just had to learn
Yeah, no, that's crazy. That's
That's
cool.
actually a really good point. It's one of those moments where you're just gonna go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you were to learn it backwards and then
That's a
do
skill
that
set.
kind of gibberish, you get a slightly different sound if you recorded it the right way around and then
Probably it's
reversed
probably
it
a
all.
little bit more organic in that
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Um, I like that I wrote this. Now for the juiciest question. I see that both you and Tigo have an incredible work ethic, constantly pushing yourselves and refining your skills, and really analyzing how to grow your social content.
Yeah.
As someone who's personally trying to do the same, what advice would you give, and what do you believe in the single most important thing is like to focus on?
Consistency for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just doing it.
Yeah, I can see that. Like you are probably the most consistent posting like content creator that I've seen, especially around music artists. Everyone's usually probably like a once in a week or once in a couple of week kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you kind of share your thoughts a bit more consistently, and that kind of engagement, I think, is kind of what makes it work.
Yeah. The only reason I can do that though, I feel like it's important to like I feel like my real strength is workflow and understanding flow and systems of things
Yeah.
and eliminating friction.
Yeah.
You got to
I
make
see
it
that from your
easy for
planning
yourself.
process too, as well.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you were, I think there was a particular story where you were talking about something about your planning, and you were showing your calendar.
Mm.
But like stuff like that, I think like it. Oh, I think you were analyzing something from previous year's
Yeah.
calendar.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I fed my calendar into AI to figure out like trends and
Yeah, it was like a pattern of trends or something that
yeah.
you were analyzing, which I found really interesting.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've ever seen someone do that.
Yeah. I know of a guy in the States who's like building a AI integrated calendar, which
Yeah,
is like
that's probably the next step.
collapsing the whole thing into one like software thing, which is really cool. Be
Yeah,
interesting to see, but
because even Notion, I think it can be a bit like buggy sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've used Notion a couple of times. I just use like I'm just a big guy of eliminating friction, simple. If I can do it easy as possible, get it done, and then the quality comes with repetitions.
Mm.
Yeah.
And finally, one of my personal favorites we mentioned before, Ice-T.
Hmm.
Can you kind of tell us how that song came to life?
Yeah. So Tigar came into the studio. We kind of don't really have a set way of working together,
Yeah,
but a lot of times he comes in and he's got like something written, and he would record it to a beat just off YouTube. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I can't remember what specific
Kind of
beat he
like
would
his
have
live
recorded that.
streams where he drops it down
Yeah,
your Facebook
exactly.
and just kind of works on stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So he'd
Cool.
bring an idea in. I think he had the verse. He came in, recorded it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is cool." Like, I put a beat under it, made the Ice-T beat, and then that was kind of the session. I'm like, "Bro, this is sick. I might like write something too." He's like, "Yeah, sick." So I went and wrote my verse, and then I'm like, "It needs a hook." Green so green, the best sick thing. Big
It's so
boots when I walk up
catchy.
to the booth. Iced-T so fresh with it. Yeah, and I just like for that song, I didn't really want to stress because I'm a big person on authenticity and saying things that you mean and that are real for you.
Yeah,
But also like that one, I was just like, it's a good vibe, man. Just like I see green, I see nature, I see the blue skies, the birds, and the sunshine. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know. I really like the way you kind of layered the lyrics in that, and like it's so kind of here and there, kind of taking a little bit here and there,
Yeah,
but it works together so well to
yeah,
like build that vibe.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I think that's what makes it so enjoyable. It's super light to listen to, but
yeah.
it's also like just a really good song to play even when you're like doing chores and stuff. It just kind of gets you into the groove.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's good vibes, man. I like making more like positive music, and I think that's something Tiga is working on doing as well.
Yeah, yeah. I was mentioning like when I was describing your, because like I start off describing the artist like with like maybe one sentence just to kind of or like just mention what genre they're in
Yeah,
when I do the this week's tens, and I was saying that your vibe is mostly like quite chill kind of hip hop. So
yeah,
like overall, like it's not like very hardcore stuff most of the time,
yeah,
but it's like a lot nicer to listen to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's it.
Um.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. So that pretty much concludes the whole interview. I wanted to include at the end for a chance for you to kind of promote yourself and also kind of tell people like say if it's a really new artist and they want to find a producer, how do they contact you? Where should they contact you?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Brezie. If you want to check out my music on Spotify, Brezie. That's the letter. That's how you spell it. Check me out on Instagram. Otherwise, if you are an artist and you're looking for recording, production, mixing, mastering, or you're just trying to like level up, Flow State Studio. We're in DY. Flow State Studio with underscores on either side. That's the Instagram, so you'll be able to find me there.
Cool. Yeah, I think that concludes it. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
having
man. I
me
appreciate
today.
it. This has been good.
Yeah, it's been good. That was a really amazing interview. It's probably the most like productive one I've had.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm sure like a lot of people will have a lot to take away from that.
Yeah.
Um, cool.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add at the very end?
Stay blessed.
All right.